Welcome back, guys and girls. It is time for the HCS ANZ Open number 2 Grand Final. We've made it after what has been a stellar day of competition. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host and Maniac, and joined on the desk by Hoots and Justin, and we've just seen an amazing series to get to our Grand Final. We did see Divine Minds come through, and we're going to be seeing a rematch of that Winners Final. Justin, the Winners Final was already good enough, and now we're into the Grand Final. I think now with Divine Minds getting wind under the belt after that previous match, we might just see a shake-up here.
Yeah, I mean, a little while ago you were talking about how important momentum is, and Divine Minds, they've got the momentum. Nutribullet, they've just been sitting on the sidelines, the thumbs are, starting to get a little bit cold. They're not as warmed up as Divine Mind, and those guys are stretched and limber, ready to go. So if it's a time for Divine Minds to take down Nutribullet, I think there's a possibility here.
But Nutribullet, Hoots there, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and I'm sure there were more prior to that. They are yet to drop a map here in this tournament. It was the same story last week. Now, the difference, of course, being Flex in for Seduce. Is that going to be enough here of a difference for them to potentially drop a map or even drop a series here against Divine Mind?
Yeah, has it changed something? It's no slide on Flex at all, but you change the makeup of a team and things do change. So they definitely seemed gettable in that last series against Divine Mind, and so that's why I'm really interested to see this series. I'll go out on a limb and say a prediction of I think they will drop a game in this series. Whether they'll drop 2, I'm not sure, but I think from what we saw, particularly in that oddball game on Recharge, I think that they are on track to drop a game. I'll go out and say that now.
Well, there we see. We'll see if that limb collapses that you're going out on there, Hoots. Divine Mind up against Nutribullet. So far, after our very, very short and young Halo Infinite history here in ANZ and around the world, our reigning champs, you would call them, Flex, Madzi, Prades, and Barcode. This squad really, really looking unstoppable. I mean, the stats say it all. They haven't dropped a map now for 2 weeks of competition in a row. They're absolutely dominating. And so far, our winningest team. We all know very, very early days of this game, and particularly in a competitive setting, but I'm excited to see what they can do. Nutribullet, the entire squad has been a standout, but of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Barcode. There's not really too much that we can say here, he's been really, as we've said, the one-man highlight reel. We got that awesome triple kill that we saw with that grapple as well. It was part of our highlights package. And look, we've got to hear even our TV team. There's not really anything we can say. We're trying to put something interesting here, but look, the man is just cracked. And Justin, I think that really says it all.
Yeah, and what's interesting with Halo Infinite being so minty fresh is that we're already seeing players just be so dominant and comfortable in it. You see the way that Barcode has been moving around the map, and something that's been talked about quite a lot is this new sniper rifle is quite difficult to use. There's quite a high skill gap. I know that I've been struggling with it big time, but Barcode just seems to be taking it in his stride, and he's just racking up kills so quickly, just challenging everyone. It's like he's playing on a different level, and he's just been so dominant, and it's hard to find, as you say, other words to describe him other than cracked.
They are, of course, up against the one and only Divine Mind. Will the crack player of Barcode be able to lead Nutribullet to victory against them is yet to be seen. Divine Mind, Pip, Rated, Berserk, and Junior. We spoke to the ever humble and ever most awesome Phil for this squad, Rated just before. And, again, calm, composed, and just ready to get their game face on. He said he hasn't even been thinking about what's ahead of him or what's next year. He just wants to tackle what's in front of him. So that was great to hear from him. They've got their game face on and ready to see what they can do up against Nutribullet. Now, as a reminder, they are down a series, so they'll have to do the bracket reset if they can get there, and hopefully helping them will be the one and only Pip. Now, I started the Pip fan club back in 2017 or 18 here at a HCS Sydney event. At the last LAN that we did have back in 2018, Pip did place 3rd along with the Authority squad. He's been a competitor for 5 years and now trying to make a name for himself in Halo Infinite, and I'm sure that he will. He can do it on LAN, he can do it online. And Hoots, so far today, we saw a little bit earlier, Pip was actually one of the highest slayers on the squad as well, so he's really doing work for the squad.
Yeah, Josh, break me off for tickets to that fan club if you can. I wouldn't mind joining as well. I was loving watching him on that oddball live fire game in that last series before. He was just doing some incredible things, and even little things, right? Like he picks up the sniper and instead of dropping immediately down the chute, he fakes out but actually stays up on the top, lines up an angle for a snipe, turns around, no scopes back up to the top snipe tower. He's just a one-man highlight reel. I love watching him play, and I'm looking forward to seeing him up against Barcode in particular, both vying for snipes, seeing how they go against each other.
I adore the fact that you notice that little quirk, because that is exactly the kind of little plays that really make a great player, and I love the timing, and patience is key. And Justin, I think that that's one of the things also that separates some of these higher tier teams and players against some of the ones that don't make it so far in the bracket, is just their timing and use of power weapons and power-ups and equipment on the map. Obviously, it makes a huge difference, and Pip just has incredible timing with those things.
Yeah, and his timing and his slayability has just been massive. So looking to him to perform with his squad, maybe the person to shut down Barco, because he's certainly performing in that previous series. And you're talking about the patience, and I mean, I just went on and on about it before the Halo fundamentals. And when you've got a new game, you really just got to, rely on that stuff. And, I can't wait to see how they go. But, we're talking about patience, but I don't think these guys are going to have patience. I reckon that they're just going to full grudge match go in, and it's going to be super scrappy off the start. I reckon it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, well, they're ready to rock and roll. So let's check out the maps that they're going to be playing on here in our grand final. Because it is a grand final, we're up to a best of 5. CTF on Bazaar, Slayer Aquarius, and Oddball Recharge are going to be your guaranteed maps. If we can go the distance, we're going to be up to Strongholds Live Fire and Slayer on Streets. Now, remember, guys and girls, with our double elimination bracket, Divine Mind, not only do they need to win this best of 5, if they do win, coming from that bracket, they will need to win a second best of 5. Nutribullet, of course, only need to ensure they secure 3 maps right here, right now. Now, Hoots, you called a 3-1, I believe, or a 3-2. Are you saying that they're going to be dropping a map here? Justin, what do you think the prediction's going to be?
I think we're going to see that no dropping maps run end. I mean, you look at the roulette wheel, that 0-0 0-0-0's got to come up eventually, right? And Divine Mind, they're nice and warmed up. They've got the momentum behind them. The opportunity's there. They're just got to make it happen. And I think that we're going to see resurgence from Divine Mind, and that momentum's going to carry them into a bracket reset. Just my humble opinion.
Well, let's hope we can see a reset. I would love to see it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the grand final of HCS ANZ Open number 2. I am incredibly excited. We've got the rematch of the winners bracket final. We do have Divine Mind trying to do what they can up against Nutribullet. Both teams playing with subs. We've got a relatively even playing field. Nutribullet were able to take the victory in the winners bracket final. Let's see what we can do here in the grand final. Hoots, I'll leave it to you to take it away.
Thanks, Josh, and we're jumping straight on with Barcode. Why would you go anyone else? He's making a move in that OS. Unfortunately, runs into 2 Divine Mind players, but manages to get the perfect on Pip. So we spoke about early, Justin, that one-on-one between Barcode and Pip, who's going to come out on top. Dropping a perfection on him straight away is not a bad way to start. Keep in mind, we've also got the Rockets here, which are currently in the hands of Divine Mind, I believe. So they've managed to hold down those power weapons to use to try and get a few downs on Nutribullet before making a move into the base. We're already seeing, actually, Justin, Berserk pushing into the palm here very quickly and getting right up in the Nutribullet base. So a lot of offense at the start coming in from Divine Mind.
Yeah, and I love the patience from Berserk there. I mean, I thought they'd go straight for blood, but he had the overshield and he had Barcode one-shot, but he didn't go down for the challenge. He just held his position and took his time and managed to get that kill and create some pressure from his teammates on the map. You know, no flag movement just yet. They're all just trying to get comfortable, get some control on the map. Now on board with Flex Range, the sub for Seduce, but you could be forgiven to thinking that it's actually Seduce playing, because Flex Range has really been performing. He's hanging out in the bar here, grabbing himself a drink and some angles at the same time. And look at that, he's just teamed up with a player to hunt down one. Junior putting in some very nice shots, but him going down himself. Nice to get a trade in a 2v1 situation for Junior there, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. Divine Mind are down 3 now, though, so Nutribullet are going to look to start to gain some momentum on the map here. We're jumping on board with Rated, so he's coming out of his base, and he's just going to try and at least use this middle part of the base as a neutral point to try and keep the Nutribullet guys from passing across into their bar, onto their side and onto their flag. We've got this overshield popping in about 15 seconds, so still not worth probably worrying about it yet. But we are seeing here Flex starting to push in a little bit on Pips, really bringing the fight to him. And unfortunately, a trade there. Pips managing to neutralize that encounter, which is a great result for him. This overshield is popping in a few seconds, and now we're on board with Prades, who has managed to drop. So briefly then, almost, we had Nutribullet all 4 down. So they're going to be coming off the reset on the respawn, and Divine Mind are going to start to get back in front a little bit more as we see Rated starting to push into this Nutribullet bar now, dealing with Flex range, pushing him back. He's going to try and chase the kill down, but actually no, chooses to maintain top control, which is the smart move there, Justin, because sometimes if you have that top control, just pushing someone off and down below is just as good as a win.
Yeah, and Rady, he had that overshield, and you could see that Nutribullet was just like, let's burn him, just whittle him down, whittle him down. We can't let him come in and steamroll us with it. And, you know, Rated wasn't able to utilize that overshield at all. He held good position, but it didn't create any opportunities for his team, and no flags pulled just yet. Now on board with Ali Duran himself. Mr. Light Aim trying to get some angles. He's got that grapple, trying to escape there with his life. Now covering his teammate as his flag is on the move. Hoots, we've got the first flag pull, and Berserk really looking for those spawners, trying to help out Junior. Madzi comes in to stop the flag. Junior's shields are flashing, and there he goes. I love that bait and switch, just classic Halo gameplay. And now Berserk's got the flag on the move, cleaning up players, finds Flex range. Flex trying to use that thruster to get away, and Berserk's hungry. He's hunting him down. Will he be able to get that kill? He does, and he's got full shields as well. He could find a double if he wants it. Double kill on Madzi, and look at this, grappling into the spanker. Get ready, boys, it's paddling time.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that was a fantastic run, and they put the flag into my mind. Look, take a look at the scoreboard here. They are outslaying them quite considerably. They've got the rockets here as well. Berserk clearing out down in this river. He picks up a double kill, and he's moving back in. They're going to go for a second push here. So dealing with Flex range, backing up a little bit. I think he still might have 1 rocket left in the chamber there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to push back. Raided's going to duck in underneath, go in for the flag pull, and they're going to work here, taking down Prades. And so they're 3 down now, Nutribullet again. They could start to go for another flag pull.
Yeah, Nutribullet has got to get Berserk out of their bar area here. And I say that, I may have just jinxed Berserk there a little bit. Junior, he seems to be the camo man, you know, the resonant the overshield. He's just grabbing all of those customs on every map, getting those timings down pat. And look at this patience here. He wants to really utilize it, trying to get some shots down. Finds one, but that overshield's all gone, and he's trying to push over to the base here. Shields are really flashing, and Junior not able to do much with that overshield, just like Rated couldn't before. And, a little bit of a fumble. That's not the Junior we're used to seeing. What is going on here? A little bit lost, but he sees those players, he sniffs them out, gets the prediction nades in, putting so much damage. A Hail Mary comes through, and now it's time to get this flag moving, getting that slide down. Another little fumble, up the stairs, and here we go. A flag on the move for Divine Mind. This is fantastic stuff to see. Awesome shots there. Junior just pausing for a moment, finds himself Barcode. Barcode winning that 1v1 is just so strong, such a difficult kill, and both flags are out by the looks of it, Hoots.
Yeah, that was really big from Barcode there, because that flag was going to get capped if he didn't put a stop to it there. So that was a massive move. Berserk, he's managing to get dropped, unfortunately. So we're starting to see a bit of a change in momentum here. Maybe earlier on it was just Nutribullet was so focused on getting Divine Mind out of their base that they couldn't even begin to focus on power-ups and rockets. So now they're actually able to get back into this middle area where these power-ups and weapons are spawning. They can start to put them as a part of focus rather than worrying about just clearing out the base. I think when they did go for a pull before Nutribullet, I think it was more just a case of we need to just try and cause a distraction and at least get Divine Mind focused on something not in our base. But just look at these slays across the board. Pips has put up 8 assists, only 3 kills, but 8 assists there, make that 4 kills now. But they are just completely outslaying Nutribullet Divine Mind. They're only up 1-0, so they do need to try and convert this into some kind of score. Great work using the thruster there by Pips, though, dropping Madzi. So using those power-ups that we're finding, those abilities, I guess, to his advantage there, which was fantastic work. But yeah, as I was saying, Justin, it's the slaying that really needs to start turning for Nutribullet if they're going to want to be in a position to actually start capping, because right now they're just not slaying enough.
Yeah, you absolutely read my mind. Look at that scoreline. Divine Mind, they're just steamrolling on the kills department right now. And Junior, a little twitchy turret, he's just looking at absolutely everything. He probably had a 6-pack of Red Bulls before this series, and he's just looking at every angle. And here we go, 2 rockets in the spanker for Berserk here, and they're setting up for a pull. Shoots down at Madzi's feet, doesn't connect. does manage to find one, and look at this pressure he's getting on the treehouse area here. Oh, Madsy getting some nice shots on Berserk, and Madsy, that's a very critical kill for Nutribullet there, and that might be the key to stopping that flag. But it does look like it's still on the move. Now on board with Madsy, trying to find some angles here. He's just looking for those spawners running through, trying to catch him off guard. And it's like, boys, run that flag. I've got you back here. Madsy, he's, looking at the scoreline right now, he's on 11 kills, so he has cracked that double digit. So it does look like Nutribullet's starting to warm up in the kills department, and flags are going out left and right. Hoots, we've got ourselves a game.
Yeah, here we go. This is where we can see a stalemate sometimes where both flags are out and neither team can score. But it looks like we've got Madsy here running the flag, going through the double doors, taking a few shots, but he should be able to get through safely. As he does, yeah, just gets through. So might be in a position here to cap. You can see he just needs to get that flag returned there before he puts it in. You'd hope that one of his teammates actually comes to do that. He's trying to do both, which he ends up doing and puts the flag in. So a 1-all result here now, and that's great work from Nutribullet to be able to convert the lack of slays into actual flag caps. That's impressive, and that's got to be frustrating if you're a Divine Mind player. You're out slaying clearly here, but you're not able to put the conversion on the board, and that's what they need to start doing. And we're back tied 1-all. The game started all over again. We've only got 4 minutes left as well.
Yeah, Madsy really starting to warm up with killing spree medal coming up for him. Junior struggling to stay alive here. Shields are flashing, trying to stay get out of the angles. Flex Rain sniffing him out. Double kill for Raided there. Great stuff from him. And the Killjoy to shut down that player. Yeah, all dead. Lots of X's in the kill feed. Flex Rains, I love that little peek onto Berserk there. Gets a couple of shots on and just very cautious play. Barcode sniffing out Pips there. Double kill for him, and he's pulling the flag. This one's on the move. Will we get to see this one put on the board because too weak? Easy shutdown on that. So we'll see that flag just sit there at the moment. Put it on ice. Moved another day. Berserk playing out of his mind this game with 16 kills. Just going massive for his team, and he sniffed out Praties going, nah, we can't let Ali run rampant. Flex Rain running that flag. Another little fumble. A lot of fumbles this game, but there's a lot on the line. We're in the grand finals, folks. They got Butterfingers.
Yeah, you would have saw before, you would have thought, Berserk stopped the flag, surely they'd get a return there, but he was actually the only player left for Divine Mind. So whilst he could do that, he still had another 3 members from Nutribullet around that flag, able to run it, and that's what we're seeing. Barcode's got it in his hands now. He's actually about to put it in, it looks like. So now we're going to have a 2-1 lead here for Nutribullet. So they're starting to gel now, and take a look at the slays as well that we're seeing here, Justin. They're starting to pick up the slays. I'm not going to try and do the maths quickly on the top of my head, but just from having a quick look there, I think we're about even on the slays now. So it's not just that, it's also the assists. So we've got Pips racking up big assists for Divine Mind, but apart from that, not a huge amount of assists coming out where everyone... oh, sorry, I was actually looking at the Descon. That's completely incorrect. But no, what I am saying is that the kills really picking up for Nutribullet here, and they're starting to convert that into caps, which is something that Divine Mind weren't able to do.
Yeah, and we see that Junior here with the Bulldog sniffing out his prey, putting in loads of bullets on the flag, getting the return done. That dirty work that I was touching on before, Junior just so reliable for it and stops the player challenging him as well. And he goes down, Junior so important during that run, and it allowed them to capitalize and get another point onto the board. Raided watching that push there. Pips just lurking in the shadows, being a very sneaky little beaver. Raided already on 21 kills, going absolutely massive. I mean, he was talking post-game of the previous series that he wasn't sure what his Halo future is, and it looks like a lot of kills was in his future, and he's just going massive for his squad. A kill there for Praties. He goes down, and it's just a slugfest right now. So many kills, but we've got 2 flags down. We're at a stalemate, 1 minute, 30 seconds to go, and we're at 2-2, Hoots.
Yeah, but we are seeing a flag pull here. I think it's Flex starting to run it. He's gone for the aggressive pull. Excuse me. He's gone for the aggressive pull straight down bottom mid, and you can see he's got the cover above him at Rockets as well. So if he can win this duel, and he uses these pills really well, unfortunately he isn't able to stay alive. But you see his teammate comes in, picks up the kill, and they're just going to run this straight through. So this is at a crucial time here with a minute left. If they can get this in, they're just putting it through the Nutribullet, but it looks like they're going to put it in. So Barcode running objective, that's 2 caps for him now. So we think of him as a slayer, but he's happy to run the objective as well for his team when required. He's put in 18 kills, 10 assists, so he's really putting in a lot of work, a lot of team shot through for his team, and he's going into the bar here to clean up Berserk, which he does pretty easily. So at this point, I think, Justin, what do you do? Do you keep going for the back smack as well? But at this point, if you're Nutribullet, what do? Do you play pure defense now? Do you say, let's just hold out for 40 seconds? Or do you go for another cap to try and keep this lead growing?
No, you've got to keep that pressure going. You can't take your foot off the gas. We've seen it so many times before. It's like, hey, boys, we've got a lead. Let's just, calm it down a bit. But all you're doing is giving the other team an opportunity to reset and come back. So Nutribullet, they've got to keep that pressure up. Only 20 seconds to go. They're really starting to run away with this one. Flex Reigns is just chilling out on the barrier here, keeping all the other team at bay at the moment. 10 seconds. These players are fast, but I don't think they're going to juggle it across the map in that time. And this looks like it's going to be a win for Nutribullet.
Yeah, you saw, and that will be the win. So well done to Nutribullet to actually come back there. And after that, getting smacked at the beginning, they were able to really turn that around. But you saw a really smart play towards the end there of Barcode, where he just grabbed that grapple shot, and in his mind it was, I'm just going to get across into the other team's base as quickly as possible and cause a distraction, because as long as I'm there, it's going to stop more members of Divine Mind actually crossing over into our base. So he shot himself across there. He distracted two players. I think it was Pips and Berserk, I think it was. But that meant that was two players who couldn't head over to the Nutribullet base to get that pull. So smart little moves like that, it just go a massive way into determining whether or not you can win a game. So I loved seeing that from him. We're taking a look at the stats here, and across the board, they started to really pick up the slaying there, Nutribullet, which was fantastic. But just look at some of these damage given. We've got Barcode, as you'd expect, top leader in the slays, only by 20 HP against Madzi. So Madzi's doing a lot of work there as well. And then in terms of this Divine Mind squad, we can see there was Berserk doing most of the damage for them. Not a huge amount of damage out of Junior, unfortunately. So he was racking up quite a few kills there. 17 kills. So by no means was he the lowest kill scorer, I guess you could call it, on the team, but not putting in as much damage as you tend to think of someone who's such an aggressive player like him.
Yeah, but we did see him do a lot of the dirty work too, and sometimes I talked about it before, he kind of acclimatizes to how his teammates are playing, and you could see Rated and Berserk were just going ham. They were monster slayers, and Junior's like, all right, boys, you do you can be in the highlight reel, and I'll get down there, I'll get my hands dirty, I'll dive on the live grenades, I'll dive on the flags to get the returns. And it didn't translate to a win this time, but it was very, very close. And was saying, is this going to be the time that Nutribullet drops a map? And I mean, they were close. I mean, we're talking that one flag cap there, and even if we see a 3-0 in this series, you're seeing that Divine Mind is really starting to challenge that monstrous Nutribullet squad hoots.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Because, part of me wants to see a really even close series, and so I'm sitting there thinking, they're close, and I feel like Divine Mind's teasing us a little bit. They're showing what they can do for periods of time, but the thing that separates the great teams from the good teams are the teams who can maintain that level throughout an entire game. And it just seems like Divine Mind are able to get to that level and hold it for a while, but then when we get towards the halfway point or something like that, they just start to lose a bit of focus, they lose composure. Nutribullet's able to get a bit of a setup on them and just start to work them over a little bit. So look, it's frustrating in one sense, but they still need to come away and say, look, we only lost that by a cap. We equaled them on the slaying point of view for most of it. So yeah, I think you can still take a lot away from that. And I'm sticking with my prediction from what I said at the start of this series. I do think that we can still see them take a map off Nutribullet, and they've got 2 more games to try and do that at least.
Yeah, still plenty of time for that bracket reset, and Divine Mind's really showing signs of life. I mean, 3-2, that's a tight scoreline. It really came down to that last 30 seconds or so, and, Divine Minds, they're starting to put it together. Had so much momentum at the start of that game, and they're showing us that they can do it, and they just need to hold that consistency throughout a series so they can get to that bracket reset. And Nutribullet, they can't relax, that they can't give any opportunities to Divine Mind, because I think it's pretty evident that they can't afford to make mistakes against these guys anymore, Hoots. And we're jumping on board with Prades. Take it away.
Yeah, we are jumping on board with Prades, and we're going to see again, as we always do, this real time where teams feel each other out and try and figure out at what point they can go for a camo. But Junior, and this is what we saw in the last series with Junior, he just loves the camo on this map. So he just says, I'm just going to go straight for it. You can shoot me if you want. Unfortunately, there was only one Nutribullet player actually looking towards top mid at that point. So he was able to grab that getaway. He's got the camo, and now he's starting to get a bit of a flank on coming up behind them. But we do see here that there's actually no one really super close to him apart from Madzi, and great jump there by Junior. He's going to come up and should get the back smack here on Madzi. Unfortunately, isn't close enough, so goes for the shots and will pick up a really nice double. That's great. Turns around, shots on Prades, but he'll back down, keep that camo. He's still got a bit of time with it, so you're better off keeping it active, although it does now start to wear off, and he's going to be copping fire from a fair few angles. Barcode shuts him down, but that's great from Junior. That should be his role here, is to try and maintain this camo control for his team and use it to get flanks and break setups from Nutribullet.
Now on board with Madzi with that hashtag Croc Gang emblem up on the left of your screen there. Nice shots onto Junior there. Finds himself a second. Rated, using a little bit of cover there, going, Madzi, I'm not going to give you that kill just yet. Making it so difficult and kind of baiting a little bit for Berserk. And Berserk is set Madzi running, tail between his legs. He's out of there, Hoots. But scoreline 11-7 at the moment in favor of Nutribullet. I mean, Divine Mind, they got a bracket reset in mind. They can't afford to let that scoreline blow out anymore. Madzi being very patient here, checking all of his angles, trying to find a player. Rated putting in some suppressing fire, and look at that. Rated's going for the challenge here. He's trying to sniff him out, but there's a lot of players going to be putting pressure on Berserk. He responds to the call out and gets that nice kill on there, and it's 11-11. Hoots, we've got ourselves a game.
Yeah, they've taken the lead now, Divine Mind. What's going to be interesting to see is the last series we had Divine Mind against Direwolves. Divine Mind at several points were happy to really slow the pace down. I think we're seeing a little bit of it here. We've seen Flex Reigns, you know, he's obviously in a fight now, but there was a little while where he wasn't really able to see anyone. So a Divine Mind confident that if they take the sting out of it and play a bit more passively, they won't just get overrun by Nutribullet. Nutribullet has Barcode on their team, obviously, who's such an aggressive player. Will he just look at that and say, no, we're not slowing down here, we're going to keep going? As we see here, Pips managing to put a camo in, so that's 2 camos in a row for Divine Mind. Nutribullet haven't been able to get their hands on one yet, as Pips is starting to move into the base here, where we do have Madzi, so he's going to combine that thruster, but as a camo guy, probably won't choose to use it, so he's just hanging low here, and again, very passive play here. Puts a few shots in, and he just knows, you know, once you get the 2-shot jump on an opponent, you're always going to get the kill there if you're close enough to hit him with a melee. So he's using this camo really well, flying around, Barcode top mid taken down. So this is really solid here, and we've seen Divine Mind manage to maintain this lead of 2 kills here, and that's been great control of camo from Pips. When you have camo, you're not just there to be sneaky and whack people in the back. You've also got that ability to call out for your team. You can be a bit of a scout almost and be getting into areas where you can see where their enemies are and call them out for your team so they can move in and finish those kills.
Yeah, and Pip's giving us a clinic on how to utilize that camo killing spree for him. Oh, he's under a lot of pressure there. Grabs Prades. Prades, you know, going for the challenge. One shot himself, thinking that he'd get Pips when he's on a hot streak. And look at that. Pips got his old baby, old Yeller, the heat wave, and he moves it into that vertical position here. We'll have to see if he can have a repeat of that 28 kill performance he had a couple of series ago. And a scoreline is completely even right now. Pips is fully loaded. He's just been to the car dealership and ticked all the option boxes because he's got that thrust, he's got the heat waves. There's Flex in a little bit of trouble, and easy clean up on that play. And, you know, Pips, he's just playing out of his mind this series. And we said we were looking to him to shut down players like Barcode, and he seems to be playing that role perfectly, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'm going to try and give the heat wave another go once I get back on the game tonight. You know, I'm seeing these guys do it and thinking they're making it look easy. But that was great work by Pips. Yeah, they want the heat wave in the hands of him whenever they can. I think he's been really great with it the last 2 series we've seen him play. But, you know, we're seeing again a very even game here. We're at that getting close to that 30 kill mark that we speak about, Justin. That's when you start paying attention to how this score might unfold. And Divine Mind are hanging in there, 28, 27. But across the board here, we are seeing Pips as the lead slayer. I think that's what we came to expect. Likewise, we're seeing Barcode on for Nutribullet, so both on 11 kills. So both of these two really slaying beasts are doing what they do best for their team. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this actually pans out if they can maintain this lead. Unfortunately, Barcode might want to make sure that he's not grenading himself to try and stay alive. But you know, this lead is still being maintained by Divine Mind, so this is good. Maybe they're able to finally, you know, brush a few of the cobwebs out and maintain this focus for a full game, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, and look at that. Divine Mind in the lead. I mean, it's only 2 kills, but, you know, scoreboard's a scoreboard. 3 kills the difference now. On board with Junior. He's back on the Divine Mind squad, and he's hungry. Junior, he takes everything seriously. He's so laser focused in scrims, and it's starting to pay off right now for him, putting so much damage down on the map. And it looks like the collapse from Divine Mind's coming in. Flex Rain's the first one to fall. Junior pausing a moment, looking for the angles there, and I love that collapse there, just a classic. Get your picks, move in, and overpower the remaining players and turn around for the spawners. Great stuff to see. Junior on 10 kills right now with 6 assists. Strong showing from him. And look at that, the scoreline's really starting to bloat out.
Ooh.
Junior with that killing spree, and they've got a 6-kill lead. You know, Divine Minds, they're starting to align the star suits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got another camo coming up very shortly, so it's going to be a case of who can just grab this final one. It's probably going to be the last one we'll see given the score, but Divine Mind now with this 6-kill lead. Camo is just popping now, and we are seeing Flex make a move for us. So this is the first camo I believe that Nutribullet's got this game. So this is massive, and Flex, they're putting it in, and they've actually been able to bring this now back to a 3-kill gap. Flex taking shots with camo, but this could be huge. If he can get behind Junior up here and the rest of the squad, get a couple of back smacks or even just start to drop some shields, you can see Barcode just come in and start to pick people off. So this is going to be massive. We've only got a 2-kill gap now. This is getting a little bit too close for comfort. I'm sticking with my prediction, but we'll see how we go.
And look at that, dropping that heat wave for Flex with that camo there, loving that feature. And mate, this scoreline's a little bit close for comfort for me. My heart's starting to pound. Get the paramedics on standby with that defibrillator. And look at that, the eagle eyes from the other players to spot out Flex. He's stuck here. He had the camo, he had the heat wave, and he just hasn't been able to utilize it, and the game is slowed right down. And look at that, first player to fall. Oh, it's even. Oh, finding Pips, easy kill onto him. There's so many red X's there, and only 1 point the difference at the moment. Nutribullet with that 1-kill lead. Are we going to see the upset from Divine Minds, or is Nutribullet going to hold on by the skin of their teeth?
Oh, I don't know. They've definitely got the momentum the last couple of kills because they were down by 6 not too long ago, and now they're up by 1. So, yeah, this has been massive. And that camo, he was able to at least get that and keep it out of the hands of Divine Mind, and they weren't able to do what they've done with it the last 2 times they've had it. So, unfortunately, misses that jump, but he's going to come in with the heat wave there on Junior, take him down. We've got a very close game now. Divine Mind's actually managed to take the lead back, up by 2 now. This is massive. There's 2 down for Nutribullet. They're pushed back. Divine Mind's starting to push in a little bit here, and we're on board with Prades. He's just laying down nades. Are we going to see the pace taken out of this again? We didn't think we'd see another camo, but only 15 seconds left. 5 kills for Nutribullet, 3 for Divine Mind. I reckon we're going to see the pace taken out and 1 more camo come in, and this camo, Justin, is probably going to decide the result of this game.
Mate, I am too old for this. My pacemaker is malfunctioning. Only 2 kills. 1 kill the difference at the moment. It is really starting to heat up. Pip finding 1, 49 to 48. Divine Mind, they're only 1 kill away from stopping that no dropping mat streak for Nutribullet, and Pip's desperately trying to stay alive. Still 49-48. Divine Mind's, forgive me if I sound biased, but I love an underdog story. Pip's going in, my boy, trying to find flex range. He's there. Will he get the back whack? Victory for Divine Minds. The streak is over for Nutribullet. We've got ourselves a series, Hoots. I am so stoked.
That's what we wanted. That is what we wanted. Yeah, that's the first game they've lost in when you take last weekend and this weekend combined. So they've lost a game, and this is an unfamiliar feeling for them. So what does that actually mean for them now when they are sitting in the post-game lobby, sort of critiquing what's happened, where things went wrong? How's your mindset now? Because when you're only used to winning, when you start to lose, it can throw a few spanners in the works. But this is great. This is what we wanted to see. We're now 1-1 in the series, and we're just taking a look at the stats here. And look, it was Barcode for Nutribullet putting in 18 kills, which is just absolutely massive, but some really even contributions across the board from Divine Mind, which was great. And look at the assists there. That's probably the big thing. Berserker with 11, rated with 12. No one going double digits in assists for Nutribullet. So it was the team shot that was the 1 kill difference there, which is just massive for Divine Mind. And so seeing that team shot's coming in, that bodes really well for the rest of the series. And then you look at the damage across the board. Barcode, as you'd expect, putting in 5,500 damage, which is far and away the most on his team. But again, a pretty even contribution when we're looking at the Divine Mind squad. Most in the 4,000s and then just 1 in the 3,000s. So that was, I think, the antithesis of just a fantastic team performance from Divine Mind there. And looking at the highlights here, it was that camo that made such a difference. You did see when Nutribullet were able to get one of the camos that they were able to bring that lead right in and tie it up almost. So that camo control has just been huge, and we saw it with Divine Mind in the last series. It was Junior who was controlling it, but Pips did a great job with his camo in hand as well when combined with that heat wave. And I think, yeah, if you went back and said, where did we lose it potentially here for Nutribullet? It was maybe if we just had 1 more camo, we could have eked out another 1 or 2 kills.
I couldn't agree more, but I think one thing that needs to be said, it wasn't necessarily Nutribullet playing poorly, it's just Divine Mind was playing to their full ability. We've seen glimpses of it, but now they're here to play. I mean, this is what we wanted. We know that the Divine Minds lineup had the potential to challenge Nutribullet, and they're finally ready to challenge. You know, it's like Star Wars, you know. Luke Skywalker wasn't ready to challenge Vader in episode 5, but come Return of the Jedi, he was ready to go, and that's what we're seeing from Divine Minds.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're 1-1 in the series now. It's exactly what we wanted. We've got a game on our hands. Obviously, Divine Mind have to go a lot further to win this this tournament. You know, they have to not only reset the bracket and win this best of 5, but then they have to go and win a second best of 5, given that they lost the first series against Nutribullet earlier in the day. So they've got a lot of work to do, and if they want to go all the distance, you know, you're looking at playing a minimum of eight games in this series. So there's a lot of work to go, but you know, they've tied it 1-1, and we're back on an even ledger, and we go again, which is fantastic for us. It's what we want to see.
And go again we shall, and it'll be interesting to see where that momentum carries, because a close scoreline like that, you can really see your motivation in your headspace crumble when you're like, boys, like, we just narrowly lost that. That's what's going on, and maybe there's a little bit of bickering there. And that could be key for Divine Mind going forward, because I can guarantee you that there was some pop-offs out of the chairs, and, you know, let's go's getting screamed, you know, crackling up on the mics and everything from those guys. So they're going to have all the momentum, and I think this next game going in, it's all going to be about how Nutribullet is going to respond. Are they going to crumble, or are they just going to keep playing the way they were playing, because they only narrowly lost that, and it was just because Divine Mind was so strong that it slipped out of their fingers.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in the Divine Mind, or one of the Divine Mind's rooms where they're playing right now, just to hear those comms and stuff after a game like that. I mean, they're the ones that you just love watching in tournaments, and when you can hear like live voices and things like that. So, you know, that's something we'll be able to get to back when we're finally on land, which we're all looking forward to. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The adrenaline rush that they'd be feeling now, saying, hey, come on, we can do this. Like, we almost got them in the last series in the 2 games we played. Yeah, the bizarre CTF at the start of this series was close. They got 1 cap and ended up beating us with a minute to go. But, you know, we can hang with them. And so do they look at it now to say, hey, we're actually on an even keel here, and every game's a flip of the coin. So if luck goes our way, then we can convert more of these games into wins and go out to a second series and then go to that series and win. It's just, you know, the door's now wide open, and it's great for them. And yeah, you know, obviously we have mentioned that both these teams are using subs, but from our point of view as the viewers, that's great, because we've seen a few wild cards be put in now where teams are having to make a few changes to address, you know, a difference in lineup. And yeah, we as the viewers, we end up being the winners, which is fantastic.
Yeah, just a little insight into the Divine Minds guys as well. A player like Ali, if you've ever watched his streams or been in a listen-in or things like that, he's a really passionate guy, and he really lifts up his other teammates. Like, if they're doing something well, he's almost more excited about it than the player that's performing, and we could be seeing that that's exactly what's happening. I mean, Rated coming in, I mean, he's technically a sub, but he's just performing so incredibly well that Ali, he's gassing up. He's just been to the petrol station, he's loaded up the jerry can, and he's just pumping his boys up.
Oh, I hope he's not paying too much with what petrol prices are costing right now. But
it's brutal. Brutal.
That's a conversation for another day. But
I'm gonna buy myself a Tesla.
Exactly. We move now to oddball recharge, and this was a series that we did see, you know, in the last series, and it was a lot closer than you'd typically think. And what was interesting was it seemed like Nutribullet were happy to control the ball up in the gold, but when given the choice between the two, and whenever the ball was reset, they would by default take it to blue. So is blue where they do like to hold it when given when they have the choice of the two? That's what I'm going to be really interested to see in this. And then, you know, when they do get there in blue, how do Divine Mind come in and break that setup? That's what's going to be really interesting. So we're kicking off here, and I think we may have had a player who's dropped. So what we might have to do is just wait for this other player to come back in before we get started, but that's all good. But yeah, as I was saying before, Justin, it's the choice of where you set up and when you choose to rotate that ball and move. You know, obviously when you're in a setup and you're a man or two down, that's when in that blue area, you have that advantage of being able to play ball, of tossing the ball off into the water, and we then wait a little bit of time and it resets and we can go and pick it up again. But holding it up in gold, the one risk you have there is if you do get overrun, then the other team who's come in and overrun you can set up there and start to hold and really get a big chunk of time. So it's that difficult period where you have to weigh up the two options. And I think it was just interesting to see that Nutribullet in the previous series, it was the blue area where they wanted to hold it and maintain there, because then it's on their terms of when the ball stays there or they toss it off.
And I have someone tapping on my shoulder, and word on the street is my boy Josh wants to jump in, which was fantastic because it's been such a just awesome series, and I want to hear, you know, the old fossil chime in with some of his wisdom. Gandalf, take it away.
Yeah, well, I'm just getting dusted off here, you know, rising from the ground. But I just wanted to chime in to actually say that, Hoots, I see that your prediction was correct there, and we thought that we might see a map loss, and of course it was just there in that Slayer. And I guess we would have picked it that if it was going to be a 1, that might have been it. But it seems to have been an interesting game so far. And look, did you expect that it was going to be that mapping game type particularly, Hoots? You know, you seem to have the... I was just called Gandalf. I think that might be you being able to make the prediction.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw the CTF game where they were getting outslayed, Nutribullet. So you'd think if you move to a Slayer, and we've spoken before that when that distraction of objectives goes away, then that can just lead to teams to completely change, and they could have been outslayed in an objective but can turn it around. But we just saw that at the very start in particular of that first CTF game that Divine Mind were outslaying so considerably. Like, it was actually, I was quite shocked to see it at a level that high. So look, I'm not going to talk myself up, but as a student of the game, I was very happy to see that prediction come true.
Yeah, well, I think it was really, really good as well. But look, we are going to be getting into this map now. We just had to remake the lobby. Justin, I'm keen on your thoughts as well, and where you see this series might be going now that we've finally got one under the belt for the Divine Mind squad.
Well, it's difficult because we had that little bit of a pause, and, you know, has that taken the wind out of the sails of the Divine Mind guys? They would have been riding a high, and we'll have to see if they can ride that momentum or if it's slowed down for them. On board with Pips right now, and he's been a very high-performing player for his squad, putting so much damage down onto Barcode, trying to get that camo. He slaps that onto his chest, and he's gone invisible ninja mode right now, and we've really seen Pips being able to utilize this camo, Hoots, and being able to get plenty of kills and really create opportunities for his team. He does go down, unfortunately, now on board with Barcode. He's got that Mangler, Hoots. What a wonderful gun that one is.
Yeah, that's one where you want to get right up close. It's effectively like, you know, harking back to the Halo 2 days, it's like just having a BXR in your back pocket in reverse. So you just land that first shot and then a melee half a second later and they're done. So he's obviously expecting to get a little bit up close and personal. He's not going to pull it out. He'll just take out Rated with the BR. Rated just basically a sitting duck jumping up in the air there. But no one opting for the ball yet, as we've always spoken about, sounding like a broken record. They're just waiting for setups here, and then we see all of a sudden Nutribullet picking up that ball and bringing it up here. Flex he was dropped shields but managed to get straight up with the ball, and they're going to go for this gold setup initially off the bat, which is you know, I expected them to go blue, but they've opted for gold, obviously, although the ball has fallen back down. So I think Flex may have actually accidentally dropped that out, and it's gone out there. So the ball's now even for anyone to take. Pips with that sword, they're starting to push through this long haul, and they're going to look at making a play for this ball. And I'm going to be really interested to see, Justin, where they choose to take it. Junior picking up, where are they going to go? It looks like they're starting to hold the Nutribullet players off coming from blue, and maybe they're going to go for a hold in the gold room.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think that was a fumble from Flex. I think he was going, hey, we've got a couple of kills down in the kill feed. The Barcode's weak, I'm weak, I'm going to throw it out into the open. I can't play it. And he just didn't want to allow the other team to be able to set up. And it's worked. It looks like it's worked perfectly if that was his big brain play. No, neither team racking up a lot of points off of that one.